Welcome back to Vital Animal Talk over at sarahjanefarrell.com, where I'm on a mission to get kind people to be confident and very clear on how they're showing up and doing their inner work and resolving unresolved trauma from childhood, from other lifetimes, so that they can help other people and animals do the same and really return to trust. So this week, inside the portal, we're looking at the influence of our language. And I'm not talking about the feeling state of language that we're going deep into in the trust process on the online 8-week program, but I'm talking about the thinking state of feeling and how much our language influences the thinking on how we are with our animal companions, our dogs and our cats and our birds and our horses. And it might surprise you, or maybe not, that our tendency when we think is always toward a negative state of thinking, which has got a very high volume and a very high charge on it, and affects our animals on a daily basis because they're so deeply connected in with us. So when we focus on what we think has gone wrong, or what might go wrong in the future, or what went wrong in the past, or what we did wrong, and we're blaming and we're shaming and we're finding fault, or we're trying to find out where other people are wrong, or where you stop trusting your intuition, just know that it's a very well-known biological response. Okay, research shows that our brains react a hell of a lot faster to negative stimuli, and they're a lot more sticky because the negative stimulus are transferred into long-term memory faster than the positive ones. It's built into our primary lower rung of Maslow's theory of we need to keep our physical body safe in order to keep ourselves aligned and fair for our family and take care of ourselves. And Rick Hanson sort of describes this as sort of the brain sort of like the Velcro for any negative experiences. It's just like it just bounces and it gets stuck there. But it's Teflon for the positive ones, and we want more Teflon and less Velcro, right? We don't want it to just slide off, the positive stuff. We want it to stick, and we do this through rewiring of our nervous system, and something that I'm an expert on and which I can offer to you in a self-paced 90-day program called Out of the Blue. So be sure to check that one out in my store. Just know that this negativity, this thing called negativity bias, is very real. And it's there, as I said, for a very good evolutionary reason. And because if you underestimated a threat in the old days when there were saber-toothed tigers running around, and even today, we've just swapped that jungle out for a concrete jungle, which is very, very dangerous, right? Because there are people in pain out there hurting other people. So it's to your nervous system, to your adrenal glands, to your pituitary adrenal axis. It's alerting you to the fact that there's a threat that could actually kill you. It could eat you for dinner. And it could easily be probably one of the last things that you did. That rustle in the bush could be the wind, or it could be a tiger or a lion. But you really don't know. And you don't want to get it wrong. So if you're under or overestimating the opportunities for, say, finding food or shelter or other scarce resources, you might not try hard enough. And sitting around assuming food's going to land in your lap. This is the people that meditate and think that abundance is just going to come to them. You have to take aligned action. You have to listen to your innate intelligence of your body and actually do what you need to do to make sure you survive. So it is a bias that works well for our hunter-gatherer ancestors, where the most important thing was passing on those genes to make sure that the species survived. However, it's less effective for us now, where our focus is more on having a good, healthy life than merely surviving long enough to reproduce, although it's still running pretty rife on our nervous system in most people. So here's where it gets interesting. Because we need to challenge the natural bias. This is where we put healthy stress onto it, because I've talked about this before, where it's very important to have a high proportion of positive, to negative emotions, to build strong resilience, to be able to brave the wilderness, to be able to problem solve, to be able to grow in order to give more so that you can gain more back in return. But it's not as simple as just trying to think positively. And what incenses me with vision boards, the way that they're taught today, just popping pretty pictures on your board isn't going to make it happen. You have to actually actively choose and commit to do the work to get what you want. So what can you do about it? And there's a lot of things, but here are 3 simple ways that I want to give you today to help keep your negativity bias in good harmony, in check, in summer, in balance. Ready? Good. So number 1 is celebrate the positive. Celebrate the small wins. Inch by inch is a cinch. Yard by yard is hard. I say it all the time. How you do anything is how you do everything. So stop brushing over the small wins. Stop going, oh, yes, but I'm not there yet. Stop forcing yourself to not up your happiness quota or your abundance quota, because it's estimated that while negative experiences are quickly stored in long-term memory, positive experiences need at least 12 seconds to get there. Got it? I hope you get that. I really want to get that. So to make a point out of savoring, celebrating the good things, the wins, what went right today, not what went wrong, but really focusing on celebrating the small wins. Review the details of every positive experience you have. Write it down. I love gratitude journals for exactly that. Go over it in your mind and note some of the details about it, and then share it with someone you trust, a trusty mentor or a friend that realizes the potency of this medicine. Because simply spending deliberate time, right, making the appointment and keeping it with yourself and focusing on, gosh, what went right today, focusing on the good things that happened, will help you to remember. And they have a very natural disadvantage in the memorability state. So do what you can to make them stick, right? We want Velcro on the positive, Teflon on the negative. Okay, we want to reverse that round. The second thing you can do simply is just power up your regularity. Keep the appointments with yourself. You keep them with everybody else, but you're not, you're willing to let them slide for you. Make yourself devotional in those acts of self-care, and remember power-ups. Small actions that you can do quickly that make you feel better. Push pause on the world. No one's going to die. No one's going to miss you. You're okay. The world will be okay. What's going to make you stronger and more energized? And it can be as simple as, getting up for stretch periods if you sit a lot, drinking a lot of good, clean water that's living, going for a walk, or singing along, put the music on, dancing like a crazy person, drum, hum in the shower, whatever it is. But power-ups for me are simple but very powerful ways to up your positivity in your life. So collect as many of these as you can. Keep your appointments with yourself. Devotionally protect them. Look at where your boundaries need strengthening. Look at where you're not honoring your yes and you're not honoring your no. And try to, not try, because that means you're not going to do it, but commit that 3 times a day I'm going to activate this to increase my positivity vibe, right? To flip it around. And then the third thing is, as part of your daily ritual, do a rational risk assessment. Remember that the negativity bias is designed to keep you safe. So negativity is not always bad. But also remember that we're hardwired, right? I speak about this in my other YouTube video. Check it out. If we're hardwired or hardwired, or both. But never underestimate the power of the wiring. You're not your DNA, you're not your genetics, you're not your wiring. You have the power to choose to change those neural networks to more positive and less of the negative, focusing on what's right and aligned and less on what's wrong. And this is where the trust process is such a beautiful place to begin to practice daily moments of strengthening your present moment time. So join us on that. It's not too late to join. But just remember, what can you do right now with this thing that you're worrying about to mitigate the threat or eliminate it altogether? Ask yourself, is it true? Byron Katie's work, the work works, but you have to do the work. Really get honest. Ask truth before a question and ask, is this true? Is this a real irrational or a rational thought? Do I need to run now and think about it later? Or do I need to push pause and stay in the feeling of whatever that is and get underneath what's actually causing the fear or the worry or the risk factor to come up? So just examine the evidence carefully and make sure you have a very accurate perspective on potential threats. How big is the threat really? You know, I think we're an endangered species because we're actually destroying ourselves with all our crap thinking that's always tipped to the negativity bias. So what can you do to make yourself more capable of meeting genuine threats? How can you minimize the risk? And also, you can't do that if you're not pushing on the edges. I think women as a species, we live on the edges. We thrive on the edges because we know how to keep the balance between the light and the dark. We've done it for centuries as medicine women, as shamans, as guides, as nature's gatekeepers and the keepers of the wells and the wisdom in the rivers. And then that requires some reverence and some honoring. So look at, what are some of your rational risk assessments that can help you to prepare to meet yourself in challenging situations without allowing any negativity to overwhelm you. And I can't tell you enough how much the trust process will help you in that. So I hope you found that helpful. For more tips, tools, and manifestation mind hacks, join me over at sarahjanefarrell.com. or meet me inside the portal for animal-specific training and tools, Vital Animal Health, over on Facebook, or join and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Share this, like this with someone you know that might be needing this. And above all, remember the power of choice is yours and yours alone. And never make anything or anyone a greater priority than your own well-being, because you can't go out and do the work that you need to do in the work if you're burnt out and your body's broken. Okay? So take care of you. And until next time, trust you are enough. Bye.